Now, our next guest, you might remember from the television series The Flying Doctors. She's also been in Packed to the Rafters. She's got a gold Logie. She's absolutely stunning and, you know, part of iconic Australian drama television history. Rebecca Gibney joins us, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to you both. How are you?
We're great.
Fantastic, thank you. It's such an honour to talk to you because we've watched you for many, many years on the TV, and now you're back with Halifax Retribution, which is a sequel. Tell us about it for those at home that perhaps haven't seen the show, what it's about.
I play a character called Jane Halifax, who is a forensic psychiatrist. And in the 21 telemovies that we did 20 years ago, she kind of helped the police profile serial killers and you know, criminals. But things have happened to her in the past that are just too much to cope with. So basically years ago she's walked away from that, and now she's, in the current series, she is now the professor at a university. She's a lecturer at a university. But she's lured back into a case when a sniper starts terrorising Melbourne, and it becomes very personal for her. So she's lured back to help the police to try and catch the killer.
How exciting. Jane Halifax is a role that you have had since the 90s. You've been doing it for so long. Do you find yourself in real life just trying to solve crimes?
Do you know what? I think we're all a bit armchair detectives.
Right.
I love a bit of a crime thriller. I love sitting and watching dramas and going, oh, they did it. No, they did it. And,
yeah.
You know, I love the twists and turns. I think there's a part of us, you know, and I sort of used to like true crime. Particularly when you're playing a character like this, you do try and immerse yourself in the mind of someone who would be that person. So, you know, I would do a lot of research on true crime. But I've got to say, it's really depressing after a while. You think, I don't really want to be going to bed thinking about serial killers and evil people. So I try and step away now and watch a few comedies instead, particularly given the state of the world at the moment. I'm avoiding that kind of stuff a little bit, other than Halifax, which is on tonight, so I will watch that.
It will be on tonight at 8:45 on Network 9. But Rebecca, are you in Melbourne at the moment? How are you coping with the COVID stuff?
I'm actually not in Melbourne. I'm in Sydney, and I'm in quarantine in Sydney, so I'm on day... Actually, when you get to this part, you forgot what day it is. I'm on day 12.
Are you wearing your pyjamas talking to us right now?
Yes, I am.
What do they look like? Come on, fill us in.
I won't be getting out of them. I'll be keeping them on all day, probably.
These are my daytime pyjamas. These are my sleeping pyjamas.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Well, I did see a post that you put up on Instagram, Rebecca, about your mum being in Brisbane, and obviously you're in Sydney. You don't really get to see her that much, but it was actually a real beautiful post because you had written up something that you did that was extremely kind and beautiful. Would you mind sharing that to our listeners?
Oh, look, my mum is she's a random acts of kindness proponent. So every week she will do a random act of kindness to someone, whether it's buying a gift card and handing it to someone in a supermarket, or flowers or coffee, or she'll often buy takeaway. I think she was on a fish and chip shop a few weeks ago, and she bought the people behind her, she bought their fish and chips and walked out without even seeing their reaction.
Wow.
She's that kind of person. So I was in a supermarket myself a few weeks ago, and there was a beautiful elderly woman who was looking at the flowers. She didn't buy any. She moved off and did her shopping. And in my head, I went, what would Mum do? So I went over and I picked up some flowers. I think they were jonquils. They had a beautiful scent. And when we were checking out, I went up to her and I said, my mum Shirley says that if God prompts you to do something good for someone, you have to follow through. So these flowers are for you, and I hope you have a beautiful day. And her eyes filled with tears. And she said, oh, dear, I wasn't having a very good day, but I certainly will now, thank you. So it was beautiful. It actually made me feel amazing. I walked out with the biggest smile on my face and had the best day, even though I knew it was a blessing for her. It was actually more of a blessing for me.
So beautiful.
That is beautiful, Rebecca. I love that. Now, you have been on TV since, the 80s.
A long time.
Did you ever think you'd be on TV this long?
No, I used to keep saying that I'm going to use by date. You know, like all actresses, you sort of go, I'm going to get to 40 and no one's going to give me a job anymore. And I actually got to 40, and then Rafters came along when I was, I think, about 42. So Rafters kind of lifted my career off again. I mean, I had been working fairly solidly up until then, but then I had a child, and I in my head I went, oh, that's okay, I'm going to take a little bit of a step back. So I didn't really do much for the first 4 years of Zach's life, and then, of course, Packed to the Rafters came along and was a massive success. And So after the 7 years of that, as I was heading towards 50, I went, well, maybe I should make the most of that. And so I decided to then create some stuff for myself. And I created Wanted with Matchbox Productions, and we've done 3 series of that. And now, of course, Halifax is coming back. And, of course, I'm doing Back to the Rafters again. So
Yeah, you are.
life is busier now than ever.
You are the executive producer on Halifax Retribution. Before you go, Rebecca, I want to ask you, what's Lapi like to work with? Because he seems so cool.
You guys have done so much together.
We have. We've done, well, of course, we did Mental. We shot that up on the Gold Coast, around that area a few years ago, where he played my abusive, horrible husband.
You did. My friend was actually a body double in that, and you went up to her apparently after she got hit in the head with a camera and was like, oh my gosh, are you okay?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm a mother hen as well. Look, Anthony is just divine. He's a good mate of mine now, so it was lovely to reunite with him, and he plays kind of the grumpy old cop in this, but as the series wears on, you'll find out why he is so grumpy. And, yeah, he's a delight. He's an absolute delight, and obviously a stunning actor.
Absolutely. Well, you can catch Halifax Retribution tonight at 8:45 p.m. on Network 9. Rebecca Gibney, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Thanks, Rebecca.
Bye.
You tuned to Good Taste Brekky on Juice 107.3.